So, folks, Republicans are looking to kick you and your grandma, and you if you're older, and your grandma if you're younger, off of Social Security. Isn't that fun? We're doing it all again, folks. Let's play the greatest hits that Republicans are doing. And guess what? The people they're aiming to kick off, not 159 years old. This article ran in Politico the other day. House Republicans gather congressional scorekeepers to discuss Reconciliation 3.0. Basically, the big, beautiful bill that Republicans passed, they have a few things they want to tweak with it, right? They want to tweak some things in that big, beautiful bill because they know they're not going to get another bite at that particular apple, right? So what are they coming together around? Let's take a look. The Republican Study Committee convened on a meeting Monday evening with CBO Director Philip Swagel and Tom Barthold, Chief of Staff for the Joint Committee on Taxation, to discuss the process of estimating program costs and savings as part of a possible third budget reconciliation bill, according to four people granted anonymity to describe the private gathering. RSC Chair August Pfluger of Texas, as well as Budget Chair Jody Arrington of Texas and House National Resources Chair Bruce Westerman of Arkansas, were at the meeting. Representatives Lloyd Smucker of Pennsylvania and Gary Palmer of Alabama were also in attendance, according to one of the people. We had a dialogue and talked about their meetings on the big, beautiful bill, methodologies on the big, beautiful bill. I think it's good to have feedback like that and have them explain themselves and hopefully correct, so they can make better scores on the next reconciliation package. Basically, guys, what they are talking about here is they did not like the cost estimates they saw on the previous reconciliation packages. So they're meeting with the Congressional Budget Office and the various staff related to that to try and pressure them into having a more charitable look at how much different line items on a new proposal for the budget, this through reconciliation, how much these items might cost, how much money they can get by cutting various programs. And I can tell you from what it looks like so far, it looks pretty, I think the technical term for it is fucky. House Republicans are now discussing several components of another party line policy package to follow up last summer's One Big Beautiful Bill Act and the immigration enforcement measure that could be cleared for President Donald Trump's signature as soon as Tuesday night. They are aiming to center a third party line reconciliation bill around affordability and will also seek to root out alleged fraud in social programs that conservatives claim could amount to tens of billions of dollars in savings for the federal government. So basically, this meeting with the CBO is designed to try and get them to say, if you cut these elements of different social programs, you're going to have magically $10 billion more dollars to spend on different things that Republicans want, like massive handouts to their biggest donors. Let's go. Let's take a look. Provisions currently under consideration, according to three other people, include cracking down on fraud in Medicaid, Medicare, and other social programs, affordable housing initiatives, funding for the military, and ongoing conflict in Iran, an overhaul of federal energy permitting laws, and potentially a suite of changes to the tax code, like indexing capital gains on homes. Republicans are counting on recouping cost savings from identifying and eliminating fraud and safety net programs to pay for Iran war funding. But many GOP lawmakers are keenly aware the CBO isn't likely to find savings of that desired magnitude. Speaker Mike Johnson also raised eyebrows Monday when he told a local radio station that Republicans have plans to adjust and fix spending in Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security next year. What he is doing here is saying, "Oh, we're coming for Social Security." Social Security has been the forbidden fruit of conservatives' ire for like the last 100 years, or since its inception, right? The idea here and what they want to do is to cut these programs even farther than they've already been cut, which, to be clear, is to the bone. They want to do things like raise the retirement age. They want to do things like have work requirements for Social Security. They want to do things like privatize Social Security so that it then floods into the investment market, and suddenly venture capitalists have a bunch of money to play around with, a bunch of institutional money, the best kind of money, backed by the US government. And what this is robbery. It is seeking to rob you blind, seeking to take away your grandma's income check every month and move that cost, which I want to remind you guys, they paid into it. Your grandmother paid into it. You guys, if you are paying taxes, pay into Social Security. Every single one of y'all, right? Pay into it. Well, Twitchy-tism, that's the threat, right? Like, if this turns into, we privatize Social Security and Social Security fund goes into the stock market, that money is all going straight into fucking AI. And AI is already in a huge bubble. If that happens, if they privatize Social Security and it goes into the AI stock bubble, the collapse when that bubble pops is going to take everybody's retirement. If they try it, there will 100% be lawsuits, for sure. For sure. But if they get even close to succeeding, like, the damage will have already been done, right? And it's worth noting here that when we're talking about these particular policies, Mike Johnson is straight up saying it.
We've been doing all that. And then we're going to lead up to what we have to do and address. The largest spending items. The reason we're in trouble is because over 74% of federal spending is on autopilot, mandatory spending. That's your entitlement programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and then things like Social Security. They have to be adjusted and fixed. We have a plan to do that next year. We've been doing all that.
When he says that, the problem is we have all this spending that's fixed. It's fixed because people paid into those programs. And when he says it needs to be fixed, he's saying that because they want more money for war. They want more money to give as tax cuts to the wealthiest people to ever exist. They want to give tax cuts to Elon Musk, who's poised to be a goddamn trillionaire. Okay? Sorry, Mima. Elon Musk had to be a trillionaire. That's why you can't afford to eat. That's why Mima has to come live with us now. You know, she's going to sleep on the couch. You know, because otherwise she can't afford to live anywhere. There is no rampant fraud in Medicaid. There is no rampant fraud in Social Security. There is no rampant fraud in Medicare. The allegations that they are going to recoup tens of billions of dollars by rooting that out, and that's somehow going to be useful in paying off the colossal, like, how much has the Iran war cost so far? Iran war cost. Right. Oh, hey, there's a cost tracker. So they're looking right now at recouping like $10 billion. Worth pointing out, estimated US costs since strikes began, $107 billion. $107 billion. The idea that, we're going to balance the budget by simply, getting $10 billion, which is extraordinarily optimistic of them, really kind of gives the game away. This is not a cut to try and pay for the Iran war. This is not a cut to try and pay for the tax cuts. This is a cut so that they can give more tax cuts. This is a cut so they can make even more money for their business donors. That's it. It is highway robbery. And conservatives keep falling for it time after time after time. Like, Republicans just voted to give ICE and DHS $70 billion more dollars. Like, literally just voted for it. House passes bill to fund ICE and Border Patrol through the remainder of Trump's term to the tune of, again, $70 billion. So, just to be clear here, we have ballooned ICE's budget to being among one of the largest militarized forces on Earth, and also have spent $107 billion in total, just between these two things, the Iran war, something that we did not have to do, and spending $70 billion on militarizing ICE so that it can terrorize communities across the United States. We're talking almost $180 billion. And Mike Johnson is just like, help, can somebody help me balance this checkbook? I don't know how to do it. Clearly, we have to find like $10 billion by cutting Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. And it's just like, no, you just don't go to war with Iran. Don't go to war with Iran, and don't militarize ICE. It's really not that difficult. People don't want masked men roaming their streets, killing people. People don't like that. People actually fucking hate that. Like, I know this might be an alien concept to some folks, but seeing masked men pulling people aside and murdering them in broad daylight, not actually a great thing for your community. And like, the people who are like, oh yeah, we actually love it. You only love it because it hasn't happened to you yet. And your community will be terrorized by these folks sometime soon. Conservatives are not immune from this shit. And a lot of y'all act like you are, but the folks in Minnesota who have been terrorized both in the cities and also in the rural red communities, they know what the truth is. And the truth is, ICE does not give a shit if they are terrorizing you in the fields or terrorizing you in the streets. They do not care if you are Black. They do not care if you are white. They do not care if you are a legal immigrant. They do not care if you are a resident. They do not care if you are a citizen. They don't care. They aren't required to care because they operate outside of the law. And I don't know. I'm one of those silly people who think that government agents with the authority to kill people on sight should have to operate within some kind of law. I'm old school that way, I guess. A law and order socialist, I guess you could say. All of this to say, and I think you guys know where we're going with this, a lot of conservatives seem to be getting really confused about this too. Here's one I spotted the other day on Twitter. Explain to me, like I'm an idiot, how deporting people contributes to my nest egg evaporating. Because Republicans took all the money and want to take even more money out of social programs that you already paid for and earned. And they want to take that money and give it to ICE, which then gets funneled into private corporations that donate to Republicans. It's an incestuous, disgusting Ouroboros of corruption. And those of you who are just going like, rah, rah, ICE, yeah, this is great, Republicans are really fighting for the little guy, you're suckers. You're suckers and losers. It's crazy. Like, y'all would literally fall for the Simpsons monorail scheme. And, of course, that comment is in response to this. Social Security shortfall expected to accelerate with funds at critical low in 2032. The shortfall will be driven in part by a drop in immigration and Trump's tax cuts, trustees say, resulting in trimmed benefits. Now, I want to make a couple of points clear here, right? I want to make a couple of points clear. Because a lot of conservatives don't really seem to get this, but undocumented immigrants pay into the social programs that they never see the benefits of, which means undocumented immigrants right now have been propping up Social Security. When you take a ton of money and militarize ICE and start going after undocumented workers, you are cutting off the working base that contributes and pays into Social Security. You are literally cutting off your nose to spite your face. Or I guess you're cutting off Mima's nose to spite her face. On top of that, the tax cuts have to come from somewhere. And what Trump did in the Big Beautiful Bill, what MAGA did in the Big Beautiful Bill, was cut Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. They have been doing this, and they aim to do way more. When you see stories like this, by the way, in the Washington Post, for example, this is actually Jeff Bezos propaganda. And I know what you mean. I know many of you might be saying, but how? Like that, wait a minute. How is this Jeff Bezos propaganda? The argument that the Social Security Trust Fund will, be dry by 2032, and then we'll have to up the retirement age and people's benefits will be slashed. That is fear-mongering garbage, because there's a very easy fix to this. It's very, very easy. And it's by getting the wealthiest people to ever exist to pay their fair share. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, right now, if you make above a certain amount of money, your payments into Social Security are capped. And where is that cap? What is the Social Security cap? I don't know what it is off the top of my head. It's $184,500. So if you make more than $184,500, the amount you pay into Social Security doesn't go up with that. So if you are making $200,000, you are paying as much money into Social Security as somebody who is making $10 million. You are paying as much as somebody who is making $20 million, $100 million, $1 billion every year. And prior to getting to $184,500, you pay a certain percentage of your income into Social Security. It caps out at $184,500. The solution to basically all the problems with the Social Security Trust Fund's, expiration date is to just remove the cap. You remove the cap and have the wealthiest people in our country pay the exact same share of their income into the Social Security Trust Fund. The same percentage you pay into it should be the same percentage that someone like Elon Musk, who is sitting at the point of becoming a trillionaire, should pay in. Elon Musk and you should pay the same percentage into that program. It is wild that the wealthiest people in this country get a pass on this. And when we talk about what it would mean to pay the same percentage of income into this program, it would mean that not only would the program be solvent indefinitely, but it also would mean that your benefits would instead go up. We could afford to have elderly people live in dignity. We can afford to have people get health care. We could bring down the age of Medicare. We could be doing so many more things. But Republicans and Jeff Bezos' personal news outlet like to pretend that this is an ever-looming crisis, when in reality, pretending it's a crisis with no other solution other than to, well, I guess we'll have to cut Medicaid, guess we'll have to cut Social Security. That's just billionaire propaganda. The solution is tax billionaires. Always has been. I believe it shouldn't be the same percentage, but I guess that progressive taxation is too much of a European step to take. I mean, I'd be in favor of progressive taxation, don't get me wrong, right? That being said, I just eliminate the cap entirely. Yeah, it's bullshit that they convinced people that immigrants are the cause of wealth inequality. It is. It's complete and utter bullshit. This again, it's not just, by the way, Jeff Bezos' personal outlet. It's like a common talking point. Even NPR reports stuff like this. A trust fund that helps pay Social Security benefits for more than 60 million retirees and family members is expected to run out of money by 2032. Unless Congress makes changes by then. I wonder if this article even mentions what change, right? The trustees recommend that lawmakers address the projected trust fund shortfalls in a timely way. Okay, but address how? Basic challenge for Social Security is demographic. No, it's not. The basic challenge is being willing to tax the wealthy. Congress could patch the shortfall by raising taxes, reducing benefits, or some combination of the two. And like, the solution is really simple. The way that the trust fund is funded right now is through this tax. Eliminate the cap on the tax. It's really not difficult. Just remove the tax on the Social Security payroll tax, for fuck's sake. Social programs, why not just burn the Constitution while we're at it? We can't burn the Constitution. I'm sorry to say, the left can't burn the Constitution because conservatives in America are too busy burning it already. MAGA just loves to shit on the Constitution. Oops, all smogs, indeed. I thought the solution was to increase the military budget by 50% in 1 year. Nah. Turns out that didn't work out too great. Like, we could start with not going to war in Iran, and we could then, like, move on to, taxing the wealthy. Wealth needs to be, well, yeah, of course, there needs to be wealth taxes as well, but, like, the income, like, the payroll tax is how Social Security is funded right now. And, like, I'm all for just removing the cap from that entirely. But on top of that, wealth should absolutely be taxed in this country. So that's where we're at. Republicans are pushing forward to try and do as much damage as humanly possible before Donald Trump becomes the ultimate lame duck next year, following the midterms. And that, I think, is about as much as we can say right now. So, if you got anything out of this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, let me know what you think. How would you fix the Social Security apparatus? I'm sure you guys got good ideas out there. And also, obviously, we should have Medicare for all. Like, I didn't talk about it in this segment because, like, it's just obvious we should have Medicare for all. Just begin to progressively lower the Medicare eligibility age and increase Medicare benefits, and like it's pretty straightforward. We could genuinely do it in over the course of like 5 years if we wanted to. But whatever. Also, join your local Dems if you want to see more progressive taxation, if you want to see the cap on Social Security lifted, if you want to see Medicare for all, join your local Dems. Advocate for that inside the party, because when you do that, you can actually see colossal results. We have a member of our community who has managed to rewrite like a sizable portion of the Washington State Democrats' platform, which is pretty cool. And to make it more progressive, to make it more left-leaning, to make it more pro-working class, that is a great project to embark on. And you all can do that in your neck of the woods too. So join your local Dems, make them more progressive, make them more pro-working class. And folks, join your local DSA and help organize working class folks in your neighborhoods, in your area, because we need to make the DSA even more effective at doing that. If you need help doing these things, by the way, join our Discord, reach out to GamerG for help with DSA, reach out to Dragonfly for help with your local Dems. They got years of experience doing these things, and they'll help you get started, but they'll also give you advice on how to proceed if you run into any hiccups, okay? Now, also, last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It is comfortable, sexy lingerie that's non-tucking. Go check it out, ImogeneOlivia.com. Link down in the description. Let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, dating, plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.